All right, let's dive in. You know the one, that can of liquid energy. It's become a modern-day staple for pushing through a long day or maybe an even longer night. But what's the actual cost of that boost? Let's get into it.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? That moment when your energy just tanks, that you've still got a mountain to climb. It's a feeling we all know, and for so many of us, the answer seems to come in a brightly colored can.
If you're a student, this is probably a huge one. When you're staring down a mountain of textbooks, the promise of, laser-like focus, it's incredibly tempting. It's often seen as just another tool to sharpen your mind before a big test.
And of course, that leads us to the ultimate pressure cooker, exam season. In these kinds of make or break moments, an energy drink can feel less like a choice and more like, well, essential survival gear. But let's be real for a second. For most of us, the number one reason is way simpler. We're just tired. Whether it's from work or school or just life, these drinks have become the go-to quick fix for fighting off that everyday exhaustion.
All right, so how does this stuff actually work? It's not magic, it's pure chemistry. We're going to pull back the curtain on what's really happening inside your brain every time you take a sip. See, your body has this amazing built-in system that tells you when it's time to rest. All day long, this chemical called adenosine is building up in your brain. Imagine it's like a sleepiness meter that's slowly, steadily filling up. Once it gets high enough, you feel that natural, powerful urge to go to sleep. And this is where caffeine comes in, and it basically acts like a bouncer at a nightclub. Adenosine is trying to get into its receptor to deliver the "hey, you're tired" message, but caffeine just steps in and blocks the doorway. So get this, caffeine doesn't create energy, not at all. It just stops your brain from getting the memo that you're exhausted.
But here's a super important point. Not everyone handles caffeine the same way. It's not even close. It all comes down to your genes, specifically this one enzyme, CYP1A2. If you're a fast metabolizer, your body processes caffeine efficiently and moves on. But if you're a slow metabolizer, that caffeine just hangs around for a long, long time, which cranks up all its effects and all the potential risks. And that, right there, leads us to the heart of the problem. Using a stimulant to cover up fatigue, well, it's not a free lunch. It's like you're taking out an energy loan, and that loan creates a debt that can lead to a vicious cycle that is incredibly tough to escape.
And here's how that trap works. It's so simple, it's almost brilliant. You start out feeling tired, so what do? You grab a drink. But that caffeine, while it's blocking those sleepy signals, it's also wrecking your sleep quality later that night. So you wake up feeling even more wiped out than before, which, of course, makes you reach for another drink. And boom, the solution has just become the problem.
And this cycle has real physical consequences. Some studies show that up to a third of people who drink them report nasty side effects. The most common ones? Heart palpitations, those very sleep problems that keep the whole cycle spinning, and, get this, even more of the fatigue you were trying to fix in the first place. How ironic is that? Okay, but what about the healthy option, right? A lot of people switch to the sugar-free versions, thinking, hey, I'm dodging all the bad stuff. Well, it turns out it's not quite that simple. Your brain is wired from thousands of years of evolution to know one thing. Sweet means calories are coming. When you have real sugar, the sweet taste is followed by actual calories, and your brain gets a clear, satisfying signal. But with artificial sweeteners, you get all that sweet taste with 0 calories. This creates what scientists call a calorie sweetener mismatch, and it totally confuses the part of your brain that regulates appetite. And what's the result of all that confusion? It's completely counterintuitive. Your brain basically feels like it's been tricked. It's still waiting for the energy it was promised. So what does it do? It can actually ramp up your cravings for other sugary, high-calorie foods later on, potentially working directly against your health goals.
So this all leads us to the big question, doesn't it? Is grabbing that energy drink just a trend? Is it a simple habit? Or is it something more? Are we talking about a real physical dependence here?
Well, the answer lies in this fascinating biological process called upregulation. When you're constantly blocking those adenosine receptors with caffeine, your brain adapts. It literally thinks, my sleepy messages aren't getting through? I know, I'll just build more mailboxes. It starts growing more adenosine receptors to try and pick up that sleepiness signal.
And this one biological change explains those 2 classic signs of dependence. First, tolerance. right? You've got way more receptors to block now, so that one can just doesn't do the trick anymore. You need more and more to get that same kick. And second, withdrawal. If you suddenly stop, all that adenosine you've been holding back comes flooding in, and it finds all these extra open receptors to dock with. That's what causes that brutal crash, the headaches, the overwhelming fatigue.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. A study on medical students, and you can imagine the kind of stress they're under, found that a staggering 44.4% showed clinical signs of caffeine dependence. That's nearly half. We're not talking about just a habit anymore. This is a real, measurable change happening in the brain.
Okay, so knowing all of this, it's pretty clear the risks are not the same for everybody. Let's break down the specific clinical dangers and figure out who really needs to be the most careful here.
First up, your heart. On average, just one energy drink can bump up your systolic blood pressure, that's the top number, by about 5 points. Now, 5 points might not sound like a huge deal, but if your blood pressure is already on the high side, that's a significant and immediate stress on your system.
And this next one? This is even more serious. Energy drinks can prolong something in your heart's electrical cycle called the QTC interval. Think of it like this. It's the time your heart muscle needs to electrically recharge between beats. By making that recharge time just a tiny bit longer, we're talking milliseconds, it actually increases the risk of a really dangerous irregular heartbeat.
So who should be the most concerned? This chart really lays it out. The risk of arrhythmia is highest for people with a high BMI, high blood pressure, or a pre-existing heart condition. The risk of heart attack is greater in those with hardened arteries. For seizures, it's those with a prior history. And that chronic sleep disorder we talked about, well, that's a risk for absolutely anyone using these drinks to fight fatigue. So we end up right back where we started. Energy drinks promise a shortcut, right? A quick and easy way to power through. But what if that shortcut is actually making you take a long, long detour from what your body is truly screaming for, which is just genuine rest? The real cost of that boost might be a whole lot higher than the price on the can. It's definitely something to think about.